Can we start with the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Davis, would you open in prayer?
Sure. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day of life. We thank you for your blessings. Pray, God, that you would be with us during this meeting, that you would give us wisdom, understanding, and Lord, that we would always do what is best for the citizens of Scioto County and to do your will. And we ask it all in Jesus' name. And everybody said,
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome. It is August already.
Unbelievable,
August
isn't
4th.
when did that happen?
About 4 days ago.
Boy, you look well, you're having fun today, aren't
Yeah,
you? I
yeah,
can
it's
tell
a good
already.
day. It's a good day. Let's get started with the approval of the meeting minutes for July 28th.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of July 28th as submitted by our clerk.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
And the matter request for appropriation of funds.
Is there any comments or questions on our appropriations? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
And the matter request for appropriation transfer of funds.
Any comments or questions on our appropriation transfer of funds? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
And the matter of designating trick-or-treat night in Scioto County.
This is likely the most important decision we'll make all year.
You know it.
So trick or treat, we always tackle this item once we start getting calls. There's a lot of people in the community that have to plan accordingly with work and being there for their children. Trick or treat, it looks like October 31st, that is a Monday, from 5 to 7. Any comments or questions on selecting October 31st, which is actually Halloween?
Which is very important to a lot of
It's very important to a lot of people.
people. Needs to be whole. Has to be on October 31st in order for it to be really trick or treat. So
Any thoughts, questions? If we're good with the stated October 31st, 5 to 7 time, can I get a motion?
I make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye. And let it be noted that we made this decision on August 4th, and we have no idea what the weather will be like a couple months from now. So,
However,
however,
we consulted the Farmer's Almanac.
we did look at the
And it
farmer's
said fair skies.
Yes, it did.
That's what it
The
said.
most.
So,
That's the best we could do.
just we don't know what the weather will be like. So if it rains
Or snows.
or snows,
Blame it on the almanac.
Snow is probably more likely.
I know we joked, but we got a lot of calls last year about.
Oh.
Yeah, and we really did consult the Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah, this year we really
It's
did
laying on
look
my
at the
desk.
Farmer's Almanac. So, all right, so just
Okay.
extra color.
All right.
Item number 5.
In the matter of accepting miscellaneous reports.
I will draw out in our miscellaneous reports this week is the quarterly casino revenue. That is $275,008.51. It's not the highest it's been, but it is $25,000 more than the previous quarter. Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
And a matter of resolution increasing kennel registration fees for Scioto County, Ohio.
This is a resolution to increase our kennel fees, and kennel fees only not individual dog tags, but the kennel tags, from $60 to $70. That is in line with what our neighbors are doing around Southern Ohio. Of course, the cost of everything is going up, and we all know that our kennel needs attention. So, any comments or questions?
Well, I think, we have, gosh, I've been in office for 8 years, and we have talked about this for I don't know how long now to do this. We've waited and we've waited and we've waited on whether or not, but we're there. I mean, the costs are going up exponentially. Now, on the flip side of that, we have invested quite a bit in our kennel as a county. If you go out there now, you'll see some major changes that are going on, making it a much better place, and to be able to handle more animals, which unfortunately on the flip side is happening. We got a lot of dogs right now. So, anyways, food for thought. Yeah, we have been investing, but we also the costs are going up
Yeah.
to operate the kennel. So,
Additional comments or questions?
With the increase of the dogs out there, if anyone's interested in adopting a dog,
Absolutely.
oh yeah.
feel free to go out and take a look at them. There's some sweet little guys out there that need a home.
Thank you for that.
They've adopted a lot of dogs,
Mhm.
a lot of rescues too. They really try not to be. They really try to be a no-kill shelter. They really do, and the instances are rare. Every once in a while, you do have a dog that is just beyond rehabilitation, and unfortunately, that's rare, but it does happen. But even some of the more difficult dogs, they're finding people that are willing to take them to try to show them love. So, anyways, with that said,
Can I get a motion?
Motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of master equity lease agreement and amendment between the Board of Sauter County Commissioners and Enterprise Fleet Management regarding the Sheriff's Office.
This has been an item we've discussed multiple times at this point. This is the execution and the signing of the master agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management. Essentially what we're looking at is moving to a lease structure for a fleet within the county, specifically starting with the sheriff's vehicles. Over a 10-year time span, the estimated savings to the county is $1.5 million. They have a very specific formulary and tracking of once cars get so old, you sell them and you get your money back versus waiting until you're getting them for $200. So basically what will happen, we'll have newer vehicles consistently, and which drives down our maintenance costs, which drives down the big bang approach that the county's taken in the past, where all of a sudden you're buying 10, 15, 20 vehicles at a time. This is to manage that, and
And you have 75 sitting in a field somewhere.
well, we don't
I said
anymore.
it before you did.
We don't anymore. But anyway, this is a better tracking system.
Sorry.
You're fine, and quite honestly, savings to the taxpayers, and then keeping our men and women on the front line and more up-to-date vehicles. And we can also expand this to other county vehicles. We're just initially looking at the sheriff's department. But this is just to sign the master agreement with them. Will allow us to go ahead and place orders. A lot of these orders we're placing for vehicles. We can give them a number, and then we may see those vehicles in a year and a half. They're taking orders now for vehicles to be delivered sometime at the end of next year. So it's something we need to be mindful of now, projecting out to the needs in the future. So any additional comments or questions? Hearing none.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of resolution authorizing the execution of a local jail capital project grant agreement with respect to the Sauter County Jail Facility.
This resolution, we did have a resolution last week to authorize the commissioners to enter into the grant. This resolution is to authorize any two members to actually sign and execute the agreement. So just a little bit different language. We've already agreed to this, but this is actually to sign the agreement with the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction. Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of local jail capital project grant agreement between the Sauter County Commissioners and State of Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction.
This is part 2 of this project. This is the local jail capital project grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction to provide $1,531,216 as qualifying reimbursement to be used toward the total cost of this project. The agreement commences on the effective date and will, unless otherwise earlier terminated as provided herein, expire on the latter of 20 years from the date of the project completion or the date upon which the latest bond issuance, funding and refinancing of the project's paid. So this is being able to receive the money from Department of Rehabilitation. Once again, it's $1,531,216. We've talked about this project quite a bit over the past year and a half. It's taken that long from the sheriff asking for the money to our support letters to being awarded, and now we're to the point of signing. Appreciate Sheriff Thurman and his foresight on this project, the work they're putting in, and being able to provide essentially roughly 100 additional beds, female-specific beds that are hard to come by. It'll help our community, but also they'll lease that space to surrounding counties, ultimately generating revenue for the county. So appreciate Sheriff Thurman and all of his work he's doing on this. Once we sign this, he has a lot more work ahead of him. So any additional comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of approving payment of the regular schedule of accounts for the various funds, moral obligations, and the then and now certificates in the total amount of $1,214,957.28.
Any comments or questions on our docket? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of accepting an amended certificate from the Budget Commission,
Comments or questions on item 11? Hearing none.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye. All right, and that concludes the business portion of our meeting. At this point, we'll see if there's any questions of items on the agenda. Any questions on the agenda? Mark Craycraft, how are you, sir?
I am blessed. How are you?
Doing good. Welcome.
So I had a question talking about the jails and becoming more of a regional jail area. What is the daily charge that we're charging for prisoners out of the area, transportation, and who's responsible for that? And are they paying the bill?
Yeah, so I don't have the numbers committed to memory. I don't know if anybody has the numbers committed to memory. I know it is a higher rate. We can get the actual numbers for you, Mark. The higher rate for female folks, in terms of who's responsible for it, the sheriff would he would negotiate with the different counties. Those contracts would come before this board, and then they are paying their bills. It's, we have different contracts throughout Southern Ohio, so
Those contracts are available.
yep, contracts are available.
Yeah, it's per county or entity, whatever it might be. So I don't remember the last figure.
The last rate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I guess
it's like like $80 a day or something along with it. It's
No,
high,
it's-
it's high hundreds.
No,
Or am I thinking nursing homes?
you are. You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we'll get those numbers for you. And-
Women do have a higher rate, and this particular jail, which was the Fifth Street, which was the juvenile jail to begin with, it will hold 100 female prisoners, and that is something that the state of Ohio is struggling with. DRC was really, Department of Rehabilitation Corrections was very interested whenever this proposal was made, because they are having trouble all over the state finding adequate housing. which is sad, if you think about it, it really is. But having a facility that already had, doors and locking mechanisms, and I mean, a lot of the refurbishment is going to be security related, cameras, bringing all that up to code. But yeah, 1.5 is an amazing number when you consider a new jail to hold 100 people would probably cost you about $9 million. So, I mean, that's a pretty good deal, and Sheriff Thurman's taking lead on this. But yeah, those contracts exist. Places like Lawrence County, Jackson County, Pike County all have contracts where they utilize the services of the DeSoto County Jail now, and then will be in the future as well. But I'm thinking it's 65-75.
Is it that low?
Thinking
All right.
65-75, but contracts spell it all
We got
out.
the over-under.
And it talks about transportation, it talks about medical care, it talks about all those things are addressed in the contract. So I would refer you to those, and that's something that's accessible definitely as a public document.
Yep. And any of the more finite operations, I'd point you to the sheriff. Any other questions? Items on agenda?
Yeah, regarding item 6,
Yeah.
regarding item 6, I've been actually chatting with a lot of folks at the county animal shelter, and I was wondering how specifically that increase in kennel fees is set to benefit them. Are there plans to expand space at the shelter? Because the impression I've received is that overcrowding is one of the primary concerns at the moment,
Yeah, so
as
this,
you alluded to.
so this will help offset the operations of the kennel. And quite honestly, there's not enough revenue coming in specifically from tag fees or kennel fees for the total operations. It'll help offset. There is plans to expand there. I don't know if you've been out there lately. They have a roof project that they've expanded out quite a bit. It's now over some grassy area. I've asked Daryl to get some quotes on what it takes to pave that pad. I know he's been talking to, whether it be the city, to see like different kennel opportunities out there. So there's some things he's working on there, and I think he's wanting to do an open house soon, because once again, there's been quite a change out there. Some different fencing, some different security features. So yeah, I mean, we're going to have to expand at some point, and that roofing project will allow us to. So he's getting us some quotes. So thank you.
The truth is, the kennel operates at a deficit.
Yep.
It does not make money. We lose money operating a kennel. You're dealing with a higher revised code stuff there, and it's a very, I don't know if there's any counties that actually do operate at a positive when it comes to operating the kennel. So it's very, very hard to balance that, spending money to improve something when you're actually losing money. You know what I mean? So it's been something we've tried to do over the years to improve gradually. Fencing, we just did fencing out there, which was in terrible shape. Fencing, you could let a dog loose in the fenced-in area and it could get out. I mean, it was just it wasn't hard. So we had to get that done. We had to get that fixed. And that was part of this project too. But it's a balance when it comes to dog and kennel. It's really, it never has been profitable, and I don't see it ever being so, because if you actually did charge for licenses what you needed to cover the cost, number one, people stop buying them. Okay, they just would, and of course, there's a lot of people that don't buy tags now that should. And it's not that we assess that; it's in a higher revised code thing. We didn't just make this up and assess tag fees and stuff. But it's a complicated thing. It really is. It's not one that is so clear cut as most departments are, where you have expense revenue. It's not a easy thing at all with dog and kennel. It's basically just something you have to commit to, being compassionate with animals. Really, I mean, that's what it boils down to. So.
And we appreciate, there's still a lot of people that donate to the kennel out there, and we appreciate people that donate food.
If we didn't have that, our costs would be even more.
Yeah.
I mean, the
So we
donated
appreciate
food,
everybody
the time, volunteer time, people that come in and help clean up and do things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would do without those volunteers. I really don't. I mean, it's amazing.
Thank you for that question. Any other questions, items on agenda? Anything online? On agenda?
I can't tell.
No? Okay.
It's just off.
Okay, we'll zoom off.
Okay.
Off agenda. Yes, ma'am. Just state your name for us, make sure we got a microphone for you.
My name is Susan Warner.
Hey, Susan.
Hey, I'm a resident of Rosemount. As you're aware, the Counseling Center has purchased the roadway in. No one is able to give me an accurate number of the Counseling Center facilities, rehab facilities, treatment houses in Scioto County. From what I'm hearing, there are over 54. We don't need another counseling center in Scioto County, and we don't want another counseling center in Rosemount. We feel that 54 are enough and way too many. We're also aware that the state of Ohio is sending people here, court-appointed people here for rehab. The majority and myself want people to know we're not against rehab. But the people I have spoken to from Scioto County are saying enough is enough. We want accountability, and we want the ability to make an impact on the decisions that are being done in Scioto County. So my question to you is, what can the residents of Scioto County do to stop the counseling center from taking over this county? What can we do to stop Ohio judges, courts, from sending people to this county, court-appointed people to this county for rehab? We need accountability, and we want to take responsibility for this. Please inform the citizens of this county what they can do.
Okay. And Susan, thank you for being here, and thank you for your comments. We share a lot of those same concerns, and we've said it openly here as well. You're right, 50, whatever the number is a lot. And which is why you see some of the activities happening within the city, and then some of the discussions we've had here within the county in terms of what does zoning look like, what can we do, what can't we do. There's some laws that are attached to specific zoning towards healthcare facilities and housing because of where they fall in the ADA scope. So there's a balance that happens there. What can the citizens do? This is a state of Ohio ORC issue, plain and simple. We don't write rules here. We don't write laws here.
Understand.
I wish we did, because there's certain things we would do differently. But this is truly an issue that we have to tackle at the state level. I can tell you that everyone up here, every time we're in front of the governor, every time, and it's been quite a bit lately, number one is the rehab issue, always. And I've told the governor myself, I said, we are the canary in the mine. It's happening here now, it will happen elsewhere. And they're starting to hear and feel that now. But in terms of the citizens, it's mobilizing, and it is pushing for change at the state level. You know, I support the Adams Board getting authority back to even knowing when these rehab centers are going in and when they're being certified or even being weighed in if they should be certified. The other issue we see, and it's been a big complaint of mine for a very long time, is the accountability and what does success look like. In my world, in healthcare, in nursing homes, home health, hospice, hospitals, we know what quality measures are.
Exactly.
That is a healthcare industry that does not have a same standard of quality measure that gets reported. I can't get online to figure out, are they good, are they bad, what's their success rate, what does success even look like? There's things within Medicaid, Medicare that need to change in terms of how they bill and what they're billing for. They need to have quality measures in place. Once again, that's at the state level.
So what can the citizens do?
Reach out to our representatives,
Write
reach out
letters,
to the governor,
email,
write letters,
phone
emails,
calls.
make a trip to Columbus, whatever it is. I think we need to mobilize and get in front of the decision makers. We know that the squeaky wheel gets some attention, and the same is true in Columbus. And we can say it all we want, and we are, as elected officials, we do have that vantage point to easily access these folks. Representative Baldridge, Senator Johnson, they have those conversations, but it takes the support of the citizens behind, where we can share those letters and those
And
concerns.
that is exactly why I'm here,
Yep.
because I want the message to be put out there from the county commissioners,
Yep.
from the residents. This is what we need to do to change the environment here.
Yeah.
We need to do that. We need to all get together, write letters, email, call, and we can make a difference in this community.
Agreed.
But it takes
Absolutely.
everybody getting together. Now, I feel from talking to all of you that you are supporting the residents and the decision-making, and you're helping us as much as you possibly can legislatively.
Oh, yeah.
Guide us. Are there things that we need to be specifically doing? I feel that that helps us from your legislative standpoint. I know you don't make the rules, but we all need to know what we can do to change the rules.
I think, I really do believe that Chairman Powell's right in that getting the word out,
Okay.
talking to your elected officials in Columbus, because unfortunately, sometimes they're insulated, they're not as accessible because they're in Columbus. But I will tell you that Senator Johnson, has a bill in right now that is talking about the Adams Board having more control. Now, I will tell you, I'm kind of an absolutist on this thing. I think the Adams Board should have total control over yes or no on whether or not a facility should be open in our community. And the reason I say that is because who has a better pulse than an organization right here? And the problem is you have bureaucrats in Columbus. Yeah, I'm gonna get on my soapbox here, but I'm just gonna say it. You have bureaucrats in Columbus dictating what's going on in Scioto County. And the problem is when they privatized mental health services and they privatized everything, basically, that they took the control out of the local community and put it in Columbus. Then Ohio Moss, and I'll say this because I've said it to their face, they weren't funded properly to be able to regulate it. They said basically, okay, we're going to regulate it. We're now responsible for regulating this whole thing. But then they didn't add people or the ability for them to regulate it, meaning inspections and making sure that the place where people are being cared for, recovery, that it's a good place, and measurements and things like that. It's very rarely, a lot of these places are not being regulated right now because they don't even know they exist. That's how sad this is. And we're trying to fix that. You're about to say something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've been trying to educate myself on this process. And I was on the Ohio Mass website yesterday, and it appears that they work in collaboration with the Adams Board.
Yes.
It appears that they have specific guidelines for accreditation, CARF, whatever, and they have a certification process. They have that in place. There was a letter April 22nd from Lori Chris, who I think is the CEO of OMAS.
She's the director.
She's the
State
director,
yes.
the director regarding, people, this is the deadline, people need to get that in. But I noticed there are only, and if I looked at the map rightly and looked at where Scioto County was, it appears there's only 6 facilities in Scioto County. So the other facilities, do we know who?
You hit it.
Do we
You
know?
hit it. You hit it on the head right there. That's the problem. And there are going to be requirements. I think it's phased in over the next 2 years, which if it was me, it'd be the next 2 months.
Yep.
Okay, but there are requirements that are going in that if you are not registered, meaning you're going to be subjected to investigation. You're going to be subjected to it's CARF, right?
I think CARF is one of them. There's a couple of them.
Certification where they come in, they check you out, they make sure you're a good facility. You are going to be subjected to that. You have to be registered within the next, and no more of this voluntary stuff. Okay, because there are entities, you mentioned 6, that voluntarily subject themselves to that now.
Yes.
If you're going to get Medicaid dollars in the future, which is what they all live on,
Yep.
okay, you have to be registered, you have to be regulated. And if you're not going to see that money anymore. Now that's huge. That is a big step forward, because what's going to happen in order to be registered and regulated, a lot of places are going to have to spend some money in order to bring themselves up to a level to get there. They're not going to do it. There are some bad actors operating in this county that nobody knows what they're doing. And I will tell you, I've been to meetings at the Adams Board, and people ask, who are those people? Well, they're the ones that don't show up at the meetings. Okay, because they don't want to be regulated, and they don't want to be, they don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to operate their business, do what they do, and they don't want to be part of that process. So we're seeing that, but there's going to be more accountability in these bills that are floating around in the General Assembly right now, and I hope they can eventually get to the point where they marry these things up and come out with a very strong regulation bill for establishments across the state of Ohio. They talk about this, that you have to be regulated, you have to be inspected, one of the areas that is very gray right now is housing. It really is. It's gray. And you have to be very careful what you say and do in regards to housing because of the ADA. You know, recovery is a protected class. And the way laws are written and things like that right now, you have to be careful what you do as far as regulating housing. But we have an overall housing issue in our county that goes beyond recovery. Recovery is just a piece of that. We have slumlords. We have houses that are renting for $800 and $1,000. We have houses that no human being should live in. Okay, that are not being taken care of and brought up to par. And in that mix are recovering housing. Recovering housing's in that mix. So there are things that need to be done. There are regulations that need to be followed. Existing ordinances that are on the books that should be enforced. There's so many pieces to this thing, Susan. I mean, it is mind-boggling how we've got to this place. But I will tell you, and I noticed it, and Commissioner Coleman's been around long enough to know, when they stripped the Adams Board of a lot of their regulatory power, and that decision was made in Columbus, not by the lawmakers. I believe it was an administrative decision. No one wants to answer that question, by the way. All right, who did that? Who made those decisions? But I will tell you, when that happened, that was the line. That's when everything exploded. The number of companies getting into this business, the number of facilities opening in our community, that is when everything, I'm old enough to remember when it was just a couple of companies. I remember that. I mean, and there wasn't enough actually then to do what was happening, because we were still in the throes of OxyContin and the beginning of black tar heroin. Those are bygone days now when you think about it, what's happened. But that is what's happened. It's just exploded, and everybody can get into it. You don't even have to have a social worker license to do this. That's insane. I mean, who does that? So it's literally been the wild, wild west for years, and yes, there needs to be accountability. Yes, it needs to change, and we've been trying.
And the take-home message to the residents of Scioto County: start writing letters, start making phone calls, because the more they hear from us, the more better we are to elicit change in our area.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and I want to, just to wrap it up, with that topic anyway, is we're not anti-rehab. So often when we start being very passionate about the bad actors, there's people that take offense that we are attacking a community or a group of people. That's not what this is. This is, hey, we want the good businesses. We want good outcomes. We want people to be successful. And what we don't want is people in recovery being taken advantage of, where some of these companies just treat them as a continual residual check, because we're seeing that. So I'll leave it at that. Any additional questions off agenda?
I had a follow-up that was basically
Yes, sir.
to kind of drill down one thing Susan said, and I appreciate her being here. How can we help the citizens of Clay Township as well as the county reconcile, because this is going to happen again, to reconcile the advantage of having a nuisance property removed versus the economic development advantage of having a rehab facility, plus now they're saying a pharmacy from the old Valero, which will be distributing Suboxone and other controlled substances. So on one hand, it's a nuisance property, a nuisance problem, but on the other hand, it's rehab, but it is a form of economic development. So how do we reconcile that?
Yeah, it's a good point, Mark, because that location, and I don't know, sometimes we don't see all the data kind of compiled together. There's been a ton of overdose deaths happen there at the hotel, and shootings as well. So there's a lot of bad stuff happening there. So I guess to the citizens of Clay Township, would you rather? I mean, there's two options at this point, right? You have an organization that, whether you enjoy their industry or not is a moot point, because it is a commercially zoned piece of property. A commercial company can come in and buy and do with it what they please. But the trade-off is, do I want the crime that's associated with that location, which is very real? Do I want the drug activity, which my understanding is those people that were just set up shop there selling their drugs, and people just come in and go to their room and buy their drugs? Or the alternative is to have a company there to hopefully, because I haven't seen their plans, I don't know what TCC's plans are, and I would encourage TCC to have a meeting with the citizens of Clay Township and just the citizens in general to kind of say, hey, here's really what our plans are, here's our thought process. We potentially had opportunity to clean up a very bad area that's feeding the addiction community and the problems associated with what's going on there. And now we can hopefully flip it into something where we're now helping people within that community. So you're right, it's that balance. Do I want it to stay a rundown hotel with all the crime and everything coming and going, or do I want it to be turned into something else? And Susan, that's a good question, and you living there at Rosemount probably have a better opinion on it than I do, but it is a would you rather situation at this point.
We know what we're dealing with right now. We know what we're dealing with. We're working with the sheriff, we're working with the township. We know.
Okay.
We don't know the repercussions of putting a rehab facility, a family facility. We are not giving any information. We don't know the impact of that. Right now, we got traffic issues. I mean, you come around the point right there, and you're lucky for your life with someone pulling out of the rehab area on the corner.
Yeah.
You're lucky. There's garbage there. I mean, we know what we're dealing with right now, and we're attempting to deal with it the best we can.
Sure.
We know. That's the unknown, and it's something that we don't want there. I mean, and that's the bottom line. We're not against rehab. We're not against it. But we don't want a counseling center facility in Rosemount.
And that's
And
fair.
I'm not going to belabor the point anymore.
No, I would just encourage TCC, if someone's listening, to reach out to the folks there at Rosemount.
I saw your, that was your phone.
To reach out to the folks there at Rosemount and have a conversation of, because it truly is the unknown. You're right. Like, if I don't know what's going on, human nature is, I don't know that I agree with it, and based on experiences within this community and some of the bad actors, the question is, well, do I want that there? So, Susan, your point's well taken. I know you guys already know you already know what you're dealing with, and the question is, what are we trading for it? And hopefully TCC can meet with you all and kind of shed some light on truly what their plans are there, because I haven't heard any plans. I don't.
No, and I think part of the problem here is that Rosemount. I grew up in Rosemount, and Susan, we talked about this. You used to be able, you didn't have to lock your doors. You didn't have to do any of that. It was a very nice, middle-income community for a long time. And after the Holiday Inn left, the quality of people who owned the hotel has gradually just went down, and that's the truth. At least that's from my observation. And crime started skyrocketing. What we're seeing is, and I'll throw out the number. I was told this morning that they have carried 37 people out of the Roadway Inn in the last year.
That's the roadway in City.
Just one.
Super 8.
Just one.
Yeah,
37 people have died
at that location.
at that location year to date.
8 months.
Think about that. That is so sad. And not to mention the shootings. I mean, guys, it's crime. I mean, that is, when I heard that number, that was just alarming. I mean, that just sent shivers up my spine. I mean, it's like a death camp. You're probably going to quote me on that. All right.
Commissioner Davis calls it a death camp.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, come on, 37 people? It's almost 2 a week.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, come on. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here. So the crime is rampant. People are tired of their sheds being broke into, people walking through the yards late at night, security cameras going off, people, I mean, the crime it skyrocketed. Anywhere along the Scioto Trail, Rosemount Road, it went high. And the Sheriff's Department's been dealing with this. Clay Township, the runs for Narcan and everything else, that's another burden on the citizens of Clay Township with their squad there, with their fire and their EMS. I mean, it's just another burden. It's another tax burden on them. And now they're facing the loss of revenue from hotel motel tax, you know, something nobody's talking about and needs to be addressed. And you know, I would hope that TCC would take that under advisement, but that also hurts our travel tourism board, where they lose funding to be able to market this area. Something needs to be considered there as well. I mean, there's a lot of things that are part of this, and it's really a territory that hasn't happened in our area. Usually it's a residential house, it's something like that. This is a hotel, okay? I mean, this is different. So it is something that needs to be addressed, needs to be looked at. TCC needs to talk to the community. I believe, I would encourage that, not just here, but also future endeavors. I think it needs to happen everywhere. Anytime, you know, you have an entity that can be controversial that comes into a community, there needs to be discussion with the community members. I mean, I think it's healthy. It needs to happen. And to find out about it on social media is not the way to do it. It's just not. That's not good. That's not good PR. Okay, so we'll see what happens. But to go back, and Susan, you said it, we've belabored it quite a bit, but it you know, the people, it's still we the people, you know, and people have a voice. And there are laws, there are zoning laws. I know the trustees are looking at that. They're talking to their attorneys about it. I've heard that much, you know, but we'll see where it lands. And
Most importantly, and to wrap this up, is probably in the 6 years I've been here, one of the newspapers did an article asking me what I thought the pros and cons were, you know, that we were facing. At that time, there were only 19 rehab centers. That was 6 years ago. And we now know that's over 50. But in that time, we've spoken here 6 years constantly about the need for the citizens to take action. And as you said, you came here to find out exactly what you can do. But I strongly encourage as many people that are out there that are feeling the effects of what's going on, join with you and your community, not just out there, but everyone. And I've said it many times, we need to just march up to Columbus and stand on the steps and ask for changes.
I I honestly feel right now that this is the spot. I think people had enough,
Yeah,
and the citizens are ready.
Yeah.
good.
I think it's good for Senator Johnson and Representative Baldridge to be able to have those transcripts, to have those emails, and to
Absolutely.
even be able to bring people in for testimony,
Yeah.
you know, at committee hearings, to be able to waive those documents and say, General Assembly, look at this. Look at this. This isn't just me talking. It's not just the commissioners talking. This is the neighbor on the corner. This is the senior citizen that's scared for her or his life. This is the person that doesn't feel safe because there's increased crime in our community. I just think that's part of it, and it's important for them to be able to talk about that. But you know, right now the roadway in is a den of whatever I say is going to be another quote, but a den of death.
Death camp.
There. I went ahead and said it's a den of death, and the question is, does this better that or improve it? I don't know. I mean, I would think, but I don't know how that works. And the citizens of Rosemount, Clay Township, should be heard. They need to be heard.
Thank you.
My final word is,
Yes.
wake up Portsmouth, enough is enough.
Wake up
Thank you.
Scioto County. Wake up
Wake
Scioto
up
County.
Scioto County, wake up, enough is enough.
Thank you, Susan. Any additional questions for items not on the agenda?
Yeah, I got two.
Okay.
Colin Doctorman, what is the time commitment for a prospective Adams Board appointee? Will you be posting notice of the vacancy so as to bring in people with the most relevant knowledge?
We'll be reaching out to the way I handle appointments, and you guys, we've talked about that there's an open vacancy. I'll be reaching out to trusted advisors within the community to see who might be interested. You want to talk about your process and how you try to drum it? But
Well,
that's how I handle it. And that's,
Yeah, the Adams Board, actually, there's an application on the Adams Board
Yeah.
that they do need to fill out for qualifications. If you're interested, and we'll go ahead and throw this out today, if you're interested, contact the Adams Board. There are professional appointments, which a lot of OMOS handles that directly on that board. I believe that's a number of 7. Yes, I think it is. It's total number of 7. Those could come anywhere from any of the counties. Those are appointed by OMOS. We have 4 seats. Lawrence County has 3, Adams County has 1, and that's all based upon population, is the way that's figured out. And yeah, that's basically it. Those board appointments are, 4 of those are ours, 3 are Lawrence County commissioners, 1 is Adams County commissioner, and then the rest are out of our hands. Those are professional appointments.
So for this specific board, there is an application.
There is, and then we take that. Adams Board has always done that. They're very similar to DD in how the appointments are made. What we have received in the past is recommendations from the Adams Board. They'll take all those and they'll shoot them our way. We can choose to accept or not accept that recommendation. But yeah, that's pretty much, because in that application it talks about what makes you. What makes you a good board member? There's a lot, and I'm sure the Adams Board would be more than happy to share that information.
Any additional questions?
Colin Doctorman, this was referring back to the fleet management conversation, but he says, since you're talking about the fleet again today, is the over 400,000 minus 82,000 already given to the sheriff's office approved on December 16th of 2021 going to be used for that fleet acquisition?
I thought we already covered that last week. That was for vehicles that he ordered last year to receive this year, so no, that would not be part of the equation.
Would it be fair to say it's
But it
part of
wouldn't,
the?
but it wouldn't make us have to get as many through the
There you
fleet
go.
system. That's a good point. So those cars wouldn't inherently switch out during, because he has, I don't even want to say the number, quite a bit of vehicles there, so These are vehicles that would not be targeted as part of that lease initially. They would help us manage the appropriate time to sell those vehicles back to get the most value out of them and then turn back into a lease situation. Mark, I did want to give you the rate for males and females. Commissioner Davis was much closer than I was. $65 a day for males, $75 for female. You're welcome. Any additional comments, questions? Nothing. Commissioner Coleman, anything to share?
No, I want to thank Susan for coming in and voicing her opinions, and I'm sure that so many people share your feelings. But with that being said, no, I don't have anything more to add at this time.
Very good. Commissioner Davis?
Well, I think it's fair to say, and I'm fairly sure, it's time for the Sauter County Fair.
Yes.
Fair to say, it's time for the fair.
I wrote that down to make sure I got it right.
And hopefully have fair weather.
You're gonna quote me on that one too?
No, he
Great.
said he's not.
Oh, come on,
No.
man. That's a dad,
He
that's
worked-
like dad joke level.
He worked
Come
really
on.
hard on that, Mark.
I wrote it down so I'd say it right. Sauter County Fair is coming. So excited for this year. We're getting back into the feel of things, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be great. 4-H kids are ready.
Please
and-
support the 4-H.
Yeah, please come out, support the fair. You know, I talk to people all the time, say, I've been out there for years. Come on out, enjoy yourself. You know, I think we're going to have a great fair this year. You know, we ordered good weather. We'll see what happens there. But, you know, we have some great food vendors, some local food vendors that do well out there, and that's a way to support them in their regular business as well. But all these young people that really invest a lot of time and effort into these projects, it's not just livestock. I mean, there's a lot out there that people, you know, art and food and, you know, the agriculture on that side. There's a lot of work that's done, and of course the Sauter County Commissioners have always invested in the fairground and done as much as we can to help there. Pretty much anything, you know, they come to us and ask for, we try to figure out a way to help. But the Agriculture Society does a wonderful job running the fair, and yeah, we really need people to come out to the fair this year and support the fair. Even if you go out one day, that helps. Population, getting that attendance up is important, and come out to the fair and hope to see you there. We'll be in Building 4. We have our own booth, and we'll be glad to see you. It's like a big family reunion. So there you go.
All right. Last things I want to touch on, the Arc of Appalachia opened their trail out at the Hanging Rock Preserve, which is actually out around Memphis. Looks like a great trail. Hope to get on that one soon. It's 4.5 miles, maybe.
Is that an accessible trail?
It's going to be hiking. Yeah, it's going to be hiking. This trail looks interesting. Looks like a lot of rock features further back, maybe even a waterfall. But looks like a neat trail. Hopefully get the family out there. And then we also had the opportunity to get an update on the river camp down on the West Portsmouth. And let me tell you what, that thing is coming along really well. There's already some elements that are open. Their playground is now installed. The paddle lagoon, if you want to get out there and paddle, it's open. You can get a kayak and a life jacket and your paddle right there at the store and enjoy that. The dog park they're putting in there is massive. I mean, it's probably 3 times as big as the one in Port. I mean, it's
120 by 180.
So it's huge. It's not open yet, but massive dog park. There's splash pads coming along. They have some outside exercise equipment, the stationary equipment that's going to be there. Their pump track is already done and technically open. It's a very nice update. They're putting I didn't even know this part, the 18-hole disc golf course around close to the river's edge.
Still open up tournaments.
80 deluxe sites. One site was 100. What was this page pad?
150
150
feet long.
caved, pull through, ADA compliant, awesome. What they're doing down there, initially I thought it was an $8 million project. I was told that by the time it's all said and done, and phased out, it'll be closer to 14 million.
And walking track.
There will be. Right now, they're still, keep in mind, they're very much still in
They're under
construction.
construction.
They do have the Storybook Trail that's open right now where you can take your kids through and see that. So appreciate the update from ODNR and kind of showing us around. They're doing a lot of good things out there, and it's going to be a big get for this community.
Didn't they say the 80 spots would be open in the spring?
Spring, they're shooting for spring, and then the 20 additional spots that overlook the river is phased out a little further, but yeah.
And then the marina, they're still talking about a restaurant. Building or reopening, I think building a new facility actually,
Yep.
because the one they have is small, but they've got big plans. I mean, they
Get
really
fuel. You
do.
can
The
put
fuel
your
there?
fuel now.
Yeah, you can get fuel, and it's the only place along the Ohio River around here that you can get the 90, is
The
it 90?
recreation. grade.
Recreational 90 octane, which is a different grade, and a lot of people settle for less, and it's not necessarily great for your engines. It's the only place you can get it, so it's they've done it right. They're doing it right. I mean, it's everything they promised, they're delivering on. It took a lot of time. COVID slowed them down big time. Permitting, Army Corps of Engineers slowed them down big time. But they're working now, that's for sure.
And once again,
excited.
several of the features are open, so if you want to go out and enjoy and kind of poke around, you can. It's not, even once the campground's open, it's not just for campers. The amenities are for the community. They wanted to make that very clear. So,
Most important thing, it's
yeah,
coming, hand-dipped ice cream.
hand-dipped ice cream at the store eventually, so.
It's supposed to be really good
It
too.
was a great time out
Is there any
there.
bad ice cream?
I don't know.
Is there any bad ice cream? I've had some.
Yeah, camp store is open, you can go now. Oh, and they're doing fishing licenses and boat licensure at the camp store now.
Yes,
So you can get your boats registered there as well.
so just want to make sure we shared that, because everybody's wondering what's going on out there. There's a lot of activity, but I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, some of the stuff's already open. So get out there, check it out. With that, can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye. Thank you so much. We'll see you at the fair next week. Have a great weekend.